Le programme suivant sera en anglais.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Viewers from around the world, welcome to Echo from TOUBA once again, happening here on S.Fallou TV by the Veden in Dakar every other week on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Of course, we glad today to have our sister Sokhna SABURAH visiting from America, from Pennsylvania actually, visiting. She was here actually way before the Magal, visited the city of TOUBA, right now went to church, and now we have her for a conversation on cultural exchanges, though, how the diaspora, especially African American, though, you know, have the ideas on Africa, on our order, and also their lifestyle over there in America. We're just gonna introduce her though before the conversation. Sokhna SABURAH, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Jeddah Jeff.
Thank you for visiting Africa, of course. Before we start, can you tell us a little bit about your educational background, please?
Oh, sure. I'm a retiree now, but I worked most of my life in the field of research, educational research,
MashaAllah,
at the University of Pennsylvania. I authored a book on parenting for African Americans, and now I'm retired. You're
retired right now?
Yes.
From the University of Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Beautiful. Is it your first time in Africa?
Actually, I've been coming to Senegal since 2011.
Okay. Okay. I've seen also you an author, a writer. You wrote some books though. One of them is what's the name of the book? The title of it?
An African American Parent's Guide to
Parent's
Discipline.
Guide to Discipline.
Yes.
Okay. The resources. I mean, Parent's Guide to Resources, meaning education. So is important in that book though. What do you want to point out in
Very
that?
much so. Education is important, but also the book stresses the desire as African Americans for us not to lose our culture in regards to how we raise our families, how we discipline our children, and how we grow and thrive in America. Since our departure from the motherland, much of our culture has been lost, confused, mingled, and there's been, since the Civil Rights Movement, a great strive to try to get back to our cultural roots.
So African American, they really went through a lot, though. You know, lots of, you know, in terms of civil rights movement.
Yes.
Tell us about the story, the history. I mean, of the civil rights, what you lived in it, what you saw in America, and all the movement that went on through history. Can you come up to that a little bit?
Sure. One of the things I like to share with my Senegalese brothers and sisters when I come here is, you know, your relationship with the French and our relationship with the European was very different because Senegal was colonized. African Americans were taken from their land and taken from their homes from many different parts of Africa and transported.
Right.
Once we were there, we had to readapt to the culture, the air, everything was different, and of course there was many abuses. So when guys like Marcus Garvey started talking about let's go back, and Mark Garvey was in the 50s, he's the one that really started the movement of returning to our home, returning to Africa. Many young people in America in the 50s and 60s were galvanized by this effort. And then you had people like Martin Luther King, who more or less wanted to try to make peace there in America, live side by side with the European. And in essence, a lot of youth didn't go for that because they felt like we would lose our culture. And then you had guys like Malcolm X, who, him and Elijah Muhammad brought the understanding of Islam for the first time to America. Right now we have a lot of Arabs that bring it, but they were the first to bring it to our people. And to really try to instill it.
A lot of women also were part of it, like Angela Davis and many others who really stood up.
They really fought a little after the Civil Rights. After they killed Martin Luther King, most people were convinced that a peaceful resolution with the European was not going to be possible. And theretofore, we found that Islam would be the best answer. And we're still working towards converting African Americans into Islam, the understanding of Islam, via Serene TOUBA.
But before that, there was also Elijah Muhammad, who came in with a kind of different, with Malcolm X, with a different idea of Islam, and then who got really popular over there. Though a lot of people are member of the
Elijah Muhammad
movement. Tell us about that situation.
Well, it wasn't that his Islam was different; it just wasn't complete. He was taught by a man named Fard Muhammad, and I don't know
from Atlanta.
I don't know where this guy was from.
You're good.
And I think he gave him Islam, but it didn't get established until his son came along. They used to, when they made Salat, they used to stand and make Fatiha in English. Over the years, they began to learn more about Islam from people like Malcolm, who went and made Hajj, and once he went to the Mecca and saw,
There's also 5%ers, also. There's different type of affiliations over there, though.
Allah says He raises us in ranks and in degrees. So I think, you know, you can see a perpetual movement towards the teachings of Serene TOUBA.
Absolutely.
Really.
We're going to come back to that later on. And also, we've seen a little difference between Malcolm X's teaching and then Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King is more of a calling for, you know, intermingling with the society, being peaceful, you know, by any means necessary. That's from Malcolm X. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. That difference is how it worked. How Americans captivated that.
It's funny because I lived during that period as a young person. I grew up during that period, and it seems in my mind that the youth tended to Calvinize towards Malcolm X.
Because they were more radical.
Yes, and the youth were tired, and they wanted more action. So I think that made the difference. Older people tended to stick with what Martin Luther King said. And Martin Luther King is a Christian. He came from a Christian background.
Absolutely.
He taught that Isa alayhi salam, you know, wants us to have peace and love and harmony and all that good stuff. And it's a valid teaching. But at that time, the youth were looking for more progress, and they didn't have the patience for that kind of teaching. Nor did they feel it would be an effective means of us growing in the United States.
And they all end up being killed, though, having the same.
Both of them, yes, and they were in completely different opposite camps. But this problem I can owe to African Americans not having a sound economic base. When the slaves were freed in America in the 1800s, they owned exactly 1/2 of 1% of all the wealth in America. 1/2 of 1% black people own.
Not too many.
Now is what, 2018? You know what black people own?
In America?
Wow. 1/2 of 1%.
That's nothing.
Same thing. 1800s, 2000, we still don't have a sound economic base, which is why I think the movement in the United States with African American Muslims is leaning towards returning to places like Senegal, to a Muslim country where we can join forces and efforts and grow
a little bit
in a more efficient manner.
And also, speaking of civil rights, though, we can't but recall someone like Muhammad Ali, the famous boxer who converted in Islam, since we talking to that situation, and he played a big role, you know, during the draft, for instance, and many others he contributed, though, in terms of helping the African American, and he passed away a while ago. What a great contribution, Muhammad Ali.
He was, and we often sit back and look at that situation when they banned him, took his titles, told him he could no longer be, you know, the world champion, which he was 3-4 times. They took all those titles away from him because he wouldn't go fight their war. And he said, I'm not going to go fight them. The Vietnamese never called me nigger. The Vietnamese never beat my family. No, I'm not going to fight. after all of that, in the end, and this is the proof of Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, the presidents from countries all over the world came to pay tribute at his janazah. Everyone came to his funeral. Beautiful. These same people who put him down, who stripped him from his titles. It's a perfect example of what people like TOUBA suffer, and Muhammad Ali was an example. He suffered. Right. But in the end, even the great kings and queens from countries came to bow at his janazah. Absolutely,
absolutely.
And I think that speaks for itself.
I remember when he came into TOUBA back in the 80s, though, Muhammad Ali, he met with the Caliph, Sheikh Abdul, went to TOUBA, went to the shrine, and that was a beautiful trip, though, Muhammad Ali. May Allah rest his soul, inshallah. Beautiful. We have Sokhna SABURAH, Abdul Kabir, visiting from America, from Pennsylvania, at the university over there, an author. She wrote some books, though, and also freelancing, writing many articles. Inshallah, very glad to have her today. Long life also, before we go further, to our Khalif, Sheikh Muntaha. May Allah guide, help him, and then all the task, the work he's doing, especially the university he's about to build, though. 37 billion, the asset, the money to build the university. May Allah help him finish it. Also to my Sheikh Murtada Ibn Sheikh Abdul Ahad, to my Sheikh and friend as well, of Sheikh Mustafa of Sibikotan, and Sheikh Abdul Kamara, and all the friends from the diaspora watching all the time this show, Echo from TOUBA. We're going to upload all these videos, inshallah, though, but if you visit my page, Echo from TOUBA, Facebook, don't forget to like the page, inshallah. Sokhna SABURAH, when did you convert to Islam?
When I was a young woman in my early 20s, I converted to Islam.
Tell us about the story about your conversion. How did that happen?
Well, I was raised Christian, so I always had a concept of God. And I was never comfortable with the God in three persons thing. I couldn't rectify that in my heart. And one day I heard the adhan being called from a small little building as I was walking down the street.
In Pennsylvania?
Yeah, in town. And they had a little megaphone and it was calling the adhan, and it just struck my heart. And I was like, what is that? Who's that singing? What is that about? I began to ask questions, and surely I found my way to Islam and converted there.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And then here we go. You're a Muslim. But before we come back to that, and then your trip to Africa, right now you kind of live in critical time, though, with Donald Trump. I don't know his policy, but the rhetoric we hear from Senegal is like America first, maybe saying some kind of not very nice words on some African Americans. How do African American leave the Donald Trump era right now?
You know, it's a difficult question, because sometimes for us as African Americans, it really doesn't matter who's on the top. Nothing down the bottom changes, not for the everyday man. Unfortunately, even when Obama was in office,
it was the same thing.
Yeah, it was the same song. I mean, these presidents are bought and paid for. They're propped up there. And Trump is the answer to the swing to the right. Because with Obama, everybody felt America was getting too liberal, too loose. So everybody voted this year, and they swung to the right. They have somebody like Trump who says, still thinks that Africans live in huts, and that's the end of that. And has no problem
bleep hole,
saying it.
He said a while ago.
He has no problem. So for me, the only answer is, as African Americans, is for us to think about ways that we can remove ourselves and put ourselves in a position where we could be much more prosperous. Like places like Senegal and West Africa, we should consider as a place where we can raise our families and do the work that we would.
But also we've seen with the kind of messages he's conveying, especially to his own base, though, the racist thing, and we've seen recently a synagogue where people got killed a while ago. Some African Americans also, a lot of killings because of the message. Is not a problem, even though whoever's run DC is not, you don't feel it at the bottom, but also if the message is not good, it's not going to help, though, in society.
And what we do get at the bottom is, like you mentioned, more murders, My sheikh, Serene and Becky Fall, when he comes to America to visit, twice he's come and there's been yellow tape around my house or around my neighborhood. So what is this? Someone was shot, someone was killed. The violence increases. Hate begets hate. So when Trump is talking about these people aren't good, these people don't matter, these people this, it's dividing us. Right. And that can lead to nothing but more hate.
Absolutely. So you were Muslim a long time ago. Being Muslim also, before you become murid, you have to be a Muslim first, though.
Yes.
Murid is just a way of inner cleansing, helping yourself to be much better, inshallah. So when did you become murid?
My attraction to muridism came out of years of practicing my Islam. I made the Hajj, I made my pilgrimage, and I was truly asking Allah, you know, to
guide you.
To change, yes, and to change my station, raise me in rank, show me a path, a wasila. And alhamdulillah, that year, Serene Mamour was visiting the United States.
Serene Mamour of Sheikh Murtada.
Wow.
MashaAllah.
Yes, was here in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia. He came to my city, and Lampfall TV was there, as a matter of fact.
Lampfall was there, right.
And I made a dua. They asked me, did I want to say anything? I made a dua on the camera, saying one day I would like to learn about Serene TOUBA, and we're hearing about him now for the first time, and I would like to know more. And I would like to one day come to Senegal and join you in the Grand Magal. Wallahi, within a year, I was standing in TOUBA.
No, by the barakah of Sheikh Ahmad Bamba. La ilaha illallah.
Yes,
That's beautiful.
yes, yes.
So who was the first sheikh you met beside Sheikh Murtada?
Some of the Mbekis that would come to the United States over the years, I can't recall all their names. But one day I went to meet an Mbeki, and there was a man sitting on the floor beside the Mbeki. I didn't know who he was. And we waited. I was waiting to have an audience with the Mbeki after the talk. But I met my sheikh, Serene Becky Fall, and I didn't know anything about bifalls at that time. But I felt a connection with my sheikh and introduced myself, yes. And he invited me to come to Senegal. And because of him, the rest is history.
Right, there you go. Alhamdulillah. And then, obviously, if you talk about bifal, there's someone like Mam Sheikh Ibrahim Fall, who was, like, you know, with the Sheikh, the great Sheikh Ahmad Bamba. What did you learn about Mam Sheikh Ibrahim Fall when you met Mbeki Fall? What attracted you to that
I was just gonna say,
mysterious person?
I tell people that Serene TOUBA brought me to Senegal, but it was Mam Sheikh Ibrahim Fall that made it home.
Oh boy.
Yeah, for me. There was something with the bifal that my heart automatically just connected to. I believe probably somewhere in my history, somebody was a bifal before me. But the idea of service,
Khidma.
It's just touches my heart, and I think it's the way. I think it's the path for us, and it's noble.
Being
and
benevolent on working freely for the sake of Allah. It's beautiful,
and it's honorable.
It's honorable, of course.
Who could ask for more? If you're in service to Allah's creation, surely Allah is going to bless you.
Absolutely.
So I found it the way for me.
Beautiful Sokhna SABURAH, again visiting from Pennsylvania. We're having on our show today Echo from TOUBA. And Sokhna SABURAH, first you came to Senegal on your first visit. Obviously also you're going to visit TOUBA. Tell us about your first visit to the city of TOUBA, the city of Sheikh Al-Fadim.
It was overwhelming. It was beautiful to see such beauty and to see so many people living together in harmony and in peace. Just, it overwhelms the heart. You know, you become full. I wish that for African American Muslims, for them to be able to see and experience what is in TOUBA. It's difficult to give them words.
Absolutely.
It's something that comes from the heart.
So, you mean the peace, the Islam, the peaceful Islam? Because Islam itself, the name means, you know, peace submission, and submission, surrender yourself with peace. But if you compares to some Islam coming from many countries, though, and that's very influencing the African American community and other communities, even here in Africa, it's kind of more violent, though. There's a lot of violence described on that influence.
I believe, really, Fallou, my brother, that comes out of the Arab influence in America. In the 50s and 60s, the Arabs made a great effort to come over and start tabliging people, and they found the African Americans were very open to Islam, because prior to this it was just Christianity.
Absolutely.
And when they found this, they began to propagate in our communities constantly. But they also propagated their culture.
Absolutely.
And that
which is
was
totally
not,
different.
not necessary.
Right,
That's
right.
We have our culture.
Absolutely.
And if we're going to take a culture, why not take our own culture, which has already been laid out for us.
Right.
So, and I think along with that Arabization of Islam comes that tinge towards violence,
which is not good.
No,
and now, you know, whatever it is mentioned, they mention Islam, they'll be like the rhetoric of
9/11.
Right, 9/11, and you know, they're all terrorists and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So seeing the Islam in Senegal is of Sheikh Al Khadim, for instance, is totally different.
That's
and also, before I go back further to you know, real topic, which is Sheikh Al Khadim, coming back to Africa, also will make you remember there's an event that reminiscent in your mind, which is slavery, and Gorée Island and many other places that recall what really African American went through, though, leaving your own land to go somewhere and then being treated like that, you know, and then all that you know, recalling that reminiscent idea.
It was very difficult to
How
go to
was
Gorée.
it?
When I went to Gorée for the first time, even standing in those cells, the walls speak to you. The walls still hold that pain, that grief. They had a particular holding cell for warriors who were resistant. And this holding cell would not allow you to stand up straight. You can only bend over. Being in there and having to bend and feeling what the history has was very, very emotional. And at the same time, it was liberating, because I was able to stand on those shores and say, for all of my ancestors, I'm home.
Absolutely.
I'm home.
Absolutely. But is it hard to let go that feeling and then start over, or is it just impossible? There's a way of doing things. But how African Americans should live with that situation, the slavery era, especially right now, where it is economically we have to be challenged. You know, we have to challenge it. We have to do better. What should be our relationship vis-a-vis of that slavery era?
Everybody says, you know, you got to get past it. You got to get over it. The Jews don't let you get over the Holocaust.
Absolutely.
They will remind you every year about that Holocaust. And I stand here to remind them every year of slavery. They say that if you could put the bodies of the people that died in the migration from Africa to America, you could walk from Africa to America with never touching water. So many people.
Too many people died out.
So many people. And remember, we know it was Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba who went out and made a dua on the water for us. So,
but also there's like, especially when I was in America, I used to hear lots of my brothers, African Americans, saying that it was the African who sold them. It was the African who did this. It was the African who did all the damages over there. But they forgot that Africa been colonized after that. No one was free.
That's right.
You guys weren't
Africans
free.
Didn't have
we're still in trouble right now.
Africans were not transporting Americans.
No, absolutely not.
Over there. We didn't have boats. We didn't have the wherewithal. And what they did was they brought things that the people here needed. Here's the thing. Colonizing someone and holding someone captive after war, which is what we did in Africa, is very different than what they did in America when they took us as slaves. Here, there was a system. You did not kill your slave, your captured, indentured servant.
Right.
He could serve you and work his way to freedom at some point. That in America, once they got us there, was an impossibility. What they called captives, what Africans thought were captives, was not what happened to us in slavery, and they had no idea that that would be the situation.
So I think to really get over that, maybe we need to have some educational exchanges between African American children and the governments of Africa, maybe African unity, or each states right here, to improve the situation, though. Even remember when slavery was in America, inside those houses used to be what they used to call house something, you know, for them, because this happens like that. It's divide to control.
Divide and conquer.
Divide and
yes.
conquer. That's how it is.
Yes.
So that idea to get over it, maybe education has to play a big role in it in terms of exchanges from states.
Education and also
the diaspora.
The willingness for us to reach out to each other. You know, you may dress different than me in America. I may dress different than you here in Senegal, but that's just the outer shell.
Right.
If Allah brings us back to this country, there's a reason. Absolutely. I really believe I was brought here for a reason. For a reason, absolutely. And that there is a connection. And you will feel it. If African Americans come, they can't deny it. The connection is there. You feel it.
Absolutely, absolutely. SABURAH.
And the Senegalese people are very warm and very welcoming people.
Right.
The only barrier, the language.
The language is the problem.
Yeah.
But French is a second language. English is a second. You can come in.
But the emphasis they put on French
is too much.
Too much. Because look, when you go to France, their children speak French as their natural language. But do you know what they're teaching their children in school every day? English.
Absolutely.
All day, every day.
Because they know it's international.
All day, every day. So why can't we have Wolof in English? We don't have to have their French. Or we can have Wolof English and French.
Right.
But
or Alpular or all other languages.
Whatever. But
it's going to happen, inshallah.
We need to push the English only because it's such an international link. It's a way we can link.
Since we're here, though, like you said, you were here for a reason. It's going to happen, inshallah,
inshallah.
one day. Again, Sokhna SABURAH, beautiful conversation, though, from Pennsylvania. Our sister, African American, coming here, of course, for a purpose. Now we're going to talk about our Sheikh, our guy, Sheikh Al-Khadim, one icon, one human being that we've seen no one in terms of what his contribution to this deen, to this religion, compares to him. The trial he went through, what he went through during Gabon era, and 12 years in 15 years in Jurbel, 5 years in Mauritania, another 5 in Tain Jalaf, all, you know, against the colonizers, and all that. Tell us about your feeling about Sheikh Al-Khadim, Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, with everything he went through because of us.
He is the wasila. He is the one that we follow. He's an example that cannot be denied. Hopefully, his name is becoming more and more popular now in the U.S., along with Mam Sheikh. Both of their names, because there are two sides to one coin. So you cannot have one without the other.
Absolutely.
And I am happy to be a part of that movement to try to give people an understanding, because what Serene TOUBA set up was a system with the daras, with the schools, with you know, the communities. It's a way that we can grow economically, and that's the problem with the African American in America today. We don't have an economic foundation, and Senegal has that. You know, with what the expertise of the African Americans in America have, and with the economic foundation that the Senegalese brothers and sisters have. If we came together, we would be a very powerful force.
Absolutely. And then Sheikh Al-Khadim point out the direction, though, to go, which is they always say work hard for while you're on earth, but also worship Allah like you're gonna die tomorrow. So it is a great education from Sheikh Al-Khadim. And here we go. I want you to really let us know for the viewers who's looking at us right now, and who never maybe heard of Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, Khadim Rasul, what he represent in Islam for you, what Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba represent in your own life.
For me, he represented a way to find a peace that belongs only to me and Allah. I found that peace by following his path, the way towards Islam in regards to loving your brother and your sister. Treat your brother like you treat yourself.
Beautiful.
Want for your brother what you want for yourself. How you treat your neighbors. You know, all of these things are lessons that Khadim Rasul left for us, and they're just undeniable in regards to it being a way for us to move forward.
Of course, that's the great Sheikh who was accused for waging war, doing jihad. He said, of course, inni ujahidu bil ulum wa bi tuqa. Of course, I'm doing a jihad, but a jihad of knowledge and fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He did a lot for us, especially though he's writing memorabilia, It's just one of a kind. What he
was it,
wrote.
2 tons?
7 tons.
7 tons.
And that was what was found inside his house, though, when he passed away. That has nothing to do. That's nothing to do what he gave out, what he buried in the ground, what he sent over in the sea.
Wow.
And
that's true.
7 tons was just when he passed away. What they found, nobody can recollect the writing, you know, the vastness of what he wrote.
And the fact that when he was sent to Gabon, he went and he performed janazas for all of those sheikhs that were sent there before that.
And Gabon was weird, though, because there's no archives from the Europeans that tells anything about Gabon.
Wow.
Nobody know nothing about Gabon. Everything we know about Gabon, what he explained by himself.
In the Kasai, what he tells us.
And he said they did everything to him. Even they many times attempt of killing him. Many times. All the you know, the negative way of methods were used to just eliminate him, but Allah was not with them. Allah always stood with his side.
And what way? I mean, you put Khadim Rasul besides Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Angela Davis, A.Trap Brown, any of those guys, and he stands above.
He's someone. And after that, because you know, there's a lot of people who went with, to my belief, who went with those person to fight with them. You know, they had friends behind them, next to them, their wives and stuff. But he went to Gabon for all these years by himself. Nobody was there. And Sheikh Abdul, his own son, who was a caliph, used to say there was no one behind him, even to say Amin. He did it by himself. And
he was there for 7 years, right?
He was there for almost 8 years. You know, 8 minus 3 months.
We don't have a better example. Absolutely. We don't have a stronger example than
and he's writing memorabilia. What do you think about it? He said himself, "Karamati khati," my miracle is my writing. You know, so.
And you know, I make
you're a writer
practice.
yourself, you know.
I make it a practice.
You know how hard it is to write even a book.
Yes, I was just going to say.
And even having a book that, you know, is a bestseller or something.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And even just take the example of Sandidi. I try to read Sandidi every day. Sandidi will cover you from the time you open your eyes in the morning. It covers everything you could possibly ask for up until your death in one prayer, one kasai. It's a miracle in itself.
And I heard he wrote it when he was very young, because he wrote it for his grandmother.
No, his mother, no.
No, his grandmother. Sokhna S.Fallou. She used to read every morning Dala'il Khairat. That's a beautiful, long poem, qasida, of salawat of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So he told him, one day I'm going to find you another book you're going to read, inshallah. And then he wrote that.
Sandidi.
Sandidi. Of course, from Sheikh Al-Khadim.
And you can see that's just one kasai, and all the miracles that are contained in that one kasai. If you begin to look and read his writings, they will inspire your heart.
Absolutely,
truly.
absolutely.
You can't read it and not be touched.
There's Madlabul Shifai also, you know, for healing.
Yes.
You're a healer also, so. And he said, read it every morning and every afternoon.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And many other books.
And he gives us the formulas, he gives us the way.
Everything we want. In terms of Islam, Sheikh Al-Khadim wrote about it. Alhamdulillah, again, we're having our beautiful sister today, Sokhna SABURAH, visiting us from America. Now you are in Chess.
Yes.
With Sheikh Fall over there. Chess was the city of Sheikh Ibrahim Fall, where he lived for a long time in Medina Fall. Tell us about the movement there. Right now there's a Maulid coming, and the Bifal community is ready to celebrate that.
Yes.
What's going on right now in Chess?
Right now, my sheikh and many of the sheikhs in Chase are preparing to meet with officials to get ready for Gamu. We have guests coming even for this from America, so we're preparing for that as well. Chase is a very special place, you know.
Absolutely.
My Sheikh Serena Becky Falls compound is right next to the Caliph General, which is. There's a tree, a baobab tree outside there that the sheikh used to visit every day.
Beautiful.
And early in the morning you can still see elderly women come out to that tree and visit that baobab tree in the morning. There's a piece that's in Chase that I don't see in Dakar, because Dakar is kind of busy. And
right.
And you step into Chase, especially Medina Fall, there's a quietness, there's a faint sound of the dhikr Allah, always on the air. When you lay down at night and you see the stars, somewhere around you will hear someone calling on Allah.
Beautiful.
What better way to fall asleep?
Absolutely. Can you tell us about then the way of life of the Baifal? I mean, the work ethic of the Baifal, and you know how the Baifal really they grasp your attention.
It's funny because some people in Dakar say the Baifal have a bad name, but
that's sad. They don't know the Baifal.
They don't.
They know people walking around on the street, but the real Baifal no.
And I say, well, if the Baifals are so bad, how come everybody wants to have a Baifal? Everybody wants a Baifal in their family. Like,
great answer.
This is our Baifal.
Great answer. Great answer, Sokhna SABURAH. All right, I'll take the opportunity there to say hi, my salam and my ziyar to Sheikh Jambu Fall, the Caliph of the Baifal community, and Sheikh Mbawar Fall, Sheikh Mamibra Fall, but also Sheikh Aziz Fall, really a Sheikh and a friend of mine. I mean, whoever knows the Baifal that I know in TOUBA, all the works, S.Fallou Fall, his brother, and all of them, what they do in the community is unmatchable. Nobody really. And from get-go, from Sheikh Moudou Mustafa Fall, Sheikh Mortala Fall, Sheikh Sharif Hassan Fall, all of them contributed greatly to this order. I'm not even mentioning the great Sheikh Ibrahim Fall.
Serene Mustafa Fall is my Sheikh's father.
Right.
So he has a great legacy to hold up. Serene Mbeki Fall has many homes there that he must prepare. That his father did great work there.
Absolutely.
And is highly recognized in the city, with streets named after him and areas. So it's a very warm and accepting place.
No, beautiful.
People are very open.
Beautiful. Salam also to Sheikh Ndigal Fall and by Demba Sow. We just by Demba, very dedicated young man though, doing a lot. I'm still waiting for my book though, my Quran by Demba that you promised me on this show, inshallah.
Good work.
Great. And also a lot of people forgot about. I remember Sokhna Ummi Fall. She was the daughter of Mam Sheikh Ibrahim Fall, and they forgot how Mam Sheikh Ibrahim Fall, because the love of Serene TOUBA to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How Sheikh Ibrahim also loved the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because Sheikh Al Khadim said, "Dami wa ahli wa awladi fidahu lahu." My blood, my family, my progeny, everyone I gave it out for the sake of the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if you see the city of Mam Sheikh Ibrahim Fall, he named them after Medina Fall, from Madinatul Munawwar. Makkah Fall of Makkatul Mukarram, but also Sokhna Ummi Fall, he named after the daughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the contribution of Sheikh Ibrahim Fall in this order is just humongous, like everybody can know this, of course. Here we go now. Recently we did the Magal though, TOUBA. You were at the Magal?
Yes, I enjoyed it very much. Magal
Nehnalol. How was it?
Excellent.
What is you can tell us about the Magal?
It's a time of renewal. It's a time to strengthen your love for the Prophet, for Serene TOUBA, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The coming together from people from all over the world to be together for one reason, fi sabilillah. This is something that Mam Sheikh and Serene TOUBA, it's part of their legacy that they left for us. And every year, since 2011, wallahi, I see it growing and growing.
It's huge now.
Yes.
And now even in Dakar, all over the cities in Senegal, they started from Safar first.
Yes.
You know, they do a lot of celebration and then it's waiting for the date, the big one, 18 of Safar.
Yes.
You know, do you know the reason why we're celebrating, the reason?
It is the leaving of Serene TOUBA.
The leaving of Serene TOUBA.
Yes.
Okay, when he went to exile. Like I mentioned before though, it's more of, it's transversal, it's more of the leaving and the arrival.
Yes.
Right, because when he left on the 18th Safar, but you know, he got paid also on the 18th Safar back in 1921, when they announced him that whatever you were asking from Allah, Allah gathered it today, and no more trial, no more hardship. So 18th Safar is from the start to the end. So 18th Safar is the date that Allah chose for Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba. And when he saw all the promises though, what Allah promised him and gave it to him, he said, I can't give thank by myself. So I'm calling everyone who my joy is his joy to come help me thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's a Thanksgiving day, just like a Thanksgiving that happened over there
in America.
Right.
Exactly.
It's nice to give thanks, right?
Yes.
And then you know, it helps. La in shakartum la azidannakum. If you give thanks, we'll give you more.
I mean,
so,
that's a promise of Allah.
It's a promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So we know that it is true. And even the work into the Grand Mosque, it's so beautiful. The work, it never stops. People are always contributing.
And most of it, we don't wait for state, though, to do it. It's more the contribution of the Talubas who give out their money and then do the proper work.
Yes, and the Baifal who are there to feed them afterwards.
Oh, absolutely. So you met the Caliph, Sheikh Muntaqa?
Yes, many times Serena Becky, for all my Sheikh, has taken me to meet the Caliph General of the Baifal, Sheikh Muntaqa. Wow. So I feel honored for that. Yes.
Beautiful. And also recently during the Magal time and before, he announced that he is about to build a university. Because this university is something that really wholeheartedly Sheikh Al-Khadim wanted to build. He even used to send some of his disciples to go to Cairo, to go to Lebanon, to buy lots of books, to bring them and then keep them before the school opened. But he passed away before that happened. But he was something he wrote out though. So he wants to realize that, to tell the people, if you have the more prolific writer in the world, meaning Sheikh Al-Khadim, his disciples have to learn.
Yes.
So we're about to build that university. 37 billion for the price though. 37 billion CFA. So that tells you how education is important for a human being, because ta'arafuni khabla an ta'buduni. You have to know me before you worship me. So tell us about that task, that project. What do you think about it in terms of the importance of education?
Anytime you educate a society, you have automatically elevated that society. Education is the key that unlocks the many gifts that Allah has left on this earth. I know that I heard recently that oil had been discovered.
A lot of oil.
And that contracts have been given to the Chinese and other countries because they have the infrastructure, the ability to cultivate the oil. But for us as Senegalese, education will eliminate that middleman. Why do we need the Chinese to come over here and help us deal with our own oil? Once we educate our society and build our own infrastructure, we don't need any other countries to come in. We can sell to them.
Hopefully it's going to happen, because I don't know, maybe by the time we got educated, that oil will be gone already.
Oh, I don't know. Africa is a rich
But there's
resource.
Absolutely.
If it's not oil, it's going to be diamonds.
It's going to be something. There's all of it is over here, though.
It's all in the motherland.
So isn't that time, though, for African American to really be conscious about it and then to come and
to come home?
Right.
Yes.
How do you think the connection got to be made?
I think on both sides we need to reach out. I think that Americans need to make more of an effort to come here, and on the Senegalese side we need to make more of an effort to be ready to receive them. Have people that can translate for them. Have people that can show them TOUBA and the beauty of the masjid, and share this rich history and culture that exists here in Senegal.
You think it's going to be easy? Because if a state, like a group like the Murid Order, wanted to go and outreach a community there, it's going to be a problem of where to go. Exactly what community to, because I'm not sure there's enough organization. I've seen some though over there, but not too many that really organize in order to have our counterpart to talk to them.
Unfortunately, many Senegalese, when they come to America, they're coming for economic gain. They're coming for economic reasons, and that therefore is their foremost focus. We need more people to come for spiritual reasons and to do that kind of work. I believe that both can be done at the same time. You can come and make money, but you can also propagate. Once we start hearing the name Serene TOUBA, Mam Sheikh Ibrahim, we start organizing daras. Each person, each one, teach one. It takes one.
Right. Like you're doing right now, right?
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a lot of African Americans who have a lot of money though. They can really come on there, because if they know there's some interest in Africa, that there's something they can gain money, they can go for a business deal and make money out of it. I think it's going to be done though.
I was just going to say they don't have money now, but I think we begin to see the possibility of us being able to make money. Remember, I told you our economic base is no more now than what it was when we were first freed as slaves. because the European has designed the system so that it's very difficult to own property in America. Not like here.
Right.
It's very difficult to own businesses. Not like here. In America, you can't even take your own wares and sit in front of your own house and sell it without permission from the government. So it's a very different setup.
It is, it is.
But like I said, each one teach one. What you're doing, the work here at Fall TV with this English program, phenomenal. It's one step, it's one way.
Absolutely.
Every year when I return and I meet someone else reaches out, that's another step.
Beautiful, beautiful,
And
Sister Sabura.
Hope
they're listening to you, the diaspora over in America. There's a lot that can be accomplished here, though. Don't be afraid of Africa. There's lots of opportunity. There's a lot to be done. Africa needs all hands to help the continent really go forward. And it can happen, though. It's open. It's just like what canal to go and then how to meet the people. That's the only problem we're having. But solution will happen, like Sabura said, to go step by step, inshallah. What do you think about African, when you came in, you know, you've seen Africa now, the culture, how we live in society compares to, you know, the way of America. What do you think about our way of life here in Africa?
I think it's unique, and again, because of sitting in TOUBA, there's a piece here that doesn't exist in other places. I see that people are warm, loving, the women, the beautiful colors, and the clothes, everything about the culture reaches out to your heart if you're here, if you come. I love it.
You do. Right. You must have some observation, though, in terms of what needs to be upgraded, what we should, in the culture, for instance. What?
Okay,
the
since
way
you asked, I wouldn't say.
Go ahead, don't be shy, go ahead.
I would say, you know, the thing that most disturbs me is how we throw trash in Senegal.
Littering.
We had this problem back in the 40s in the United States, and they had it in Europe, remember when they had the plague. You can't just keep throwing trash.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't keep digging holes and putting it in either, because eventually that's gonna, all of Dakar is gonna sink.
It's gonna be a dump, right?
Wow.
Right.
But I think that a government initiative, a campaign, a litter campaign, you know, would be, suffice it to say, a way to help with that. It will help clean up the infrastructure. It will give a sense of pride to every neighborhood. And if you give young Senegalese men a job of sweeping the streets and making it an honorable job to collect the trash, you pay them well. You give them uniforms. You have a truck, and they ride and they go and they pick up everybody's trash every day and make it an honorable, well-paying job. Then you won't have black men trying to leave Senegal to go somewhere to make money. They can make money in their own country. We need to keep our youth here. So if you make that an honorable job, cleaning the street and keeping the neighborhoods clean, then eventually, and in the United States, if you throw trash on the ground, you will get fined. The police will make you pay money. So you put a little fine on there, fuki dem. If you throw trash, you pay fuki dem.
And then things will change. But I think you have to educate the people, though. You have to educate them. And also, if you educate them and you don't put trash cans, there's nothing, it's not going to happen. You have to have trucks that pick up the garbage, like we do it in every city. And so the government has to do something, right?
It has to be a government initiative. If the government starts, even on the television, you put commercials telling people, don't throw trash, you know. The government must supply an area of land which will be designated as the dump. Not that hole in your backyard, a designated area. You get your trucks, you get your people that pick up, you give the people trash cans on the streets. It will work. And within a year, you will see a difference in your city.
Absolutely. I hope the government is listening to you, though, because this is beautiful. Somebody got to call you for advice on the government, because environment is really a problem here in Africa, though.
Infrastructure, yes, the infrastructure.
Right.
Even the internet, like going off and on and off and on.
It's not convenient,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's easy to...
That's something that's easy to fix.
But most of those companies is not owned by Africans, though. They're owned by the French.
And therein lies my point.
Like the French.
Yes. And therein lies my point. And the Chinese.
Right. I think there needs to be a revolution or something. Because you can have can have a connection, and it's so expensive to buy those connections in Africa.
It's a mindset. The people have to come together, and the people decide we're not going to pay this, or we're not going to pay you for service that is inconsistent. Wallahi, in the United States, if internet went out off and on like that in the United States, the people would revolt. The people would stop buying that company's internet. They wouldn't do it because they'll say you're either going to give us good service,
or we're going to stop buying.
We're not going to use you. That's right. So it does take the people. Some projects come from the bottom up. Some projects must come from the top down.
So, coming back to environment, though, because this is something that I really want things to change in Africa, because they're cutting trees like the way they want. If you go by the sea, there's some particular trees they used to have in order to protect, the bay side from. But everything has been. You went to the Pink Lake.
Yes.
You see by the borders over there what they do about it.
Yes.
So there's no proper parks here in Africa, and this is very important. Trees, the role they play in environment has to be taught to youngsters, also to the community. Tell us about the environment, what the impact that, and what we should do to help improve our environment. Immediate environment.
The people, have to express to the government that this is something that's important to them.
Right.
Where you live and how it looks, your surroundings play a vital role in how you feel emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically. I heard that the French used to cut down the baobab tree, and Senegalese tried to tell them you should not cut that tree.
Right.
And eventually they had to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they stopped cutting that tree, didn't they?
This is a more spiritual thing, though.
Yes,
right.
but that came from the people.
Absolutely.
That came from the force of the people.
Absolutely.
There's a grave in Chase right in the middle of the highway for a great bifal sheikh. And they had to go around the tree and the sheikh and build a whole highway, but they couldn't touch that man because the people. The people said
they have to stand up. Beautiful. And also now, when is it you're going to go back to America?
This year, I plan to spend some time here for Gamel and
MashaAllah.
Spend some time with my family in Chase.
Right.
So I'll be here for a couple of months before I return.
Before you go. So in your plans, you're a writer. Are you planning to write a book on studying TOUBA, what you saw, the culture here? What is your, in the future, in terms of your writing profession?
I've been leaning towards writing more personal account of what it's like for me as an African-American woman to travel to a country all the way across on the other side of the world and to see herself. I would like to tell that story because it is here where I found me. And maybe someday I will share that story.
So on your story, on the first book you wrote, there's some touches of what you saw in Africa, the educations.
When I wrote my first book, no, I didn't.
Not really. It was most of education in America.
Yes.
Okay. So what do you think about this? Speaking of gender equality, that's what I'm going to finish the show, though, because we have 2 minutes left, inshallah. Having Sokhna SABURAH, a beautiful conversation, a contribution here, though, from America, Pennsylvania, talking about cultural exchanges as well. The way women are treated in Africa, you've seen any, is it good, or what's your observation on that? On gender
I think it's different. I think that, well, men run the world, so... I love the way the Senegalese women are treated. I feel that they are honored and they're respectable. I like now that I see more women going to school, young girls going to Dara every day, which makes me happy because our nation rests on our women. I know men think it rests on them, but it takes women to reproduce the society. We nurture the society. We feed the children. We take care of the children, and we make the men. So the treatment of women is of the utmost importance to me and other people that are coming to this society. And I think that Senegal is a great example of how women should be honored and treated.
So, if you any advice you should give us, maybe in order anything you've seen that should have been done properly with the treatment of women in Africa, or everything is 100% okay for you?
Well, everything is never 100% okay. Right. Now you're pushing for perfection. I'm not going to go there.
Right.
I think that there should be more business opportunities for women to open up their own boutiques and businesses, not just the hair thing. I think that's something
the 200,000 hair thing.
Yeah, the hair thing bugs me.
Right.
Only because Allah made us all with different strands and colors, but He made us that way so that we can know one another, not to copy, not to have this European woman's hair. What for? And we don't wear the hair of the dead. And if you're not wearing the hair of the dead, then you're wearing synthetic. And why? Allah gave us hair. Beautiful. And it's very beautiful.
إنا خلقناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. We created you in differences, black, white, tall and short, in order for you to know each other, one another. إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. The best of you is the one who must much more fearful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that was going to be, what's going to be your last word? 1 hour is all gone already.
Oh,
Absolutely.
My goodness.
Yes, on the SABURAH. And that was beautiful, very nice. I enjoyed talking to you. Your last word, please.
Very much. I would just like to thank the people of Senegal for their warmth and their openness towards me and other Americans who come here. My Sheikh Serena Becky Fall opened a whole new world to me by coming here. My friends Howard Busso, Sheikh Drame, everyone who has helped me out here. I'm more than
I'll be pleased to have Sheikh Becky Fall though, because I want someone to talk to me about Sheikh Ibrahim Fall, his lifetime in chess. We need that story over there.
Yes.
Inshallah.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah, thanks Sokhna SABURAH for visiting us again, and then we're wishing you well, inshallah, and have a nice day here in Senegal.
Thank you.
In TOUBA, in Thiès, the city of Mam Sheikh Ibrahim Fall. Salam also to your sheikhs in Mbacké Fall of Thiès, getting ready for the Gammu time right now. This is Echo from TOUBA. Again, wishing well and long life to our Sheikh, our Khalif, Sheikh Muntaha. Visit our page, Echo from TOUBA page though. This show happens every Wednesday, every other Wednesday, right here on Lamp Fall TV. Until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Jërëjëfati Serigne Touba. Jaraw lakke Mam Cheikh Ibrahima Fall.
Le programme suivant sera en anglais.
ما شاء يفعل من بعد ومكنون ربنا سكر الذي بالكاف والنون ما شاء يفعل من بعد ومكنون